Thank you, Jake, and thank you, Travis, for having me here today. I'm really excited to talk about personal branding. So whether you know it or not, you have a personal brand. You know, when you Google yourself, what shows up? The results of a Google search are that first impression people will have of you. So the question today is it a good one? You know, is the information that you're sharing across LinkedIn, Facebook, and other social media sites consistent? Because whether you have a date or a job interview, chances are someone is going to Google you to learn more about who you are. And the question I'm posing today is, do you want to allow your online reputation to take on a life of its own? Or are you going to control the narrative? So, what is a personal brand? Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, who we all know, is famously quoted as saying, "Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room." And I think that's really important to understand that, because when we think about personal branding, so often we think about logo and website. But I want you to think differently today. It starts with reputation. Reputation that relates to business. And for a company, a lack of revenue is often what we think about. But your greatest problem is actually lack of reputation. If people don't know about you, that's your challenge. And so reputation precedes revenue. And reputation is all about trust. And when we earn trust, we earn revenue. So the first tip I want to offer you today is to focus on reputation before revenue. You know, building a business is not as valuable as building a reputation, because I believe that if you focus on reputation first, the money shows up. Think about yourself or a colleague who has a great reputation. You know, they tend to get consistent referrals. They always show up at the top of search results. Now, tip number 2 is your personal brand should help you stand out, not just fit in. Let me share a great example. Do you know how many LinkedIn profiles that I have seen with the title Realtor, followed by the name of the company where they hang their license? But let me share this. According to the National Association of Realtors, their 2019 monthly membership report, their membership hit an all-time high in August of 1,393,186 realtors. The point is this: there's a lot of competition to leave your brand to chance or just to say, I'm a realtor. Okay. A personal brand is the unique combination of skills and experiences that make you who you are. It's how you present yourself to the world. So I want to share 4 steps to a great personal brand. Number 1, get crystal clear on the problem that you solve. In other words, to what question are you the answer? I know many entrepreneurs do multiple things, but note that I said, what's the number one problem that you solve? You want to be the ambassador of the problem so you can position yourself as that solution. And once you know the number one problem that you solve, you can find the exact audience you want to target. Then you have a core target audience to speak to, and in turn, they actually feel heard. I'm going to encourage you to develop what I call a core premise, which is a simple statement of what you promise your ideal customer. And that is that number one problem that you solve. So for an example, my core premise is this: leverage LinkedIn and relationship building strategies that transform your most valuable business contacts into more opportunities and sales with less effort. So what is your core premise? Okay, number two, it is developing your personal brand. And I want you to include, what are you passionate about? Your personal brand always aligns with your calling. So some clues: ask yourself, does it really excite me to talk about this topic? Whatever your topic is it exciting for you? Do you exhibit excitement when you talk about that? Could you talk about the topic for a long time and with ease? And I also want you to think about, what is your true calling? Because you want to incorporate this into your personal brand. For example, I am passionate about connection. It is actually one of my core values. And so those who know me on this call know that I love to talk about and teach people how to be a great connector and how to get results from your connections. Okay, step 3, ask yourself, what are you a perceived expert on? And what I mean by that is, what are those triggers that people think of you as an expert on? And here's where you need to be very specific and focus on the results you've gotten for others. This is a really important piece to remember. It's one thing to claim to be an expert on something, and it's entirely another thing to produce results. Okay, so think about what results you've gotten for others. Now, step 4 is, do you have an impact or a brand statement? This applies to who and what you want to impact. So it's important to understand, going back to what I said about audience, who do you want to impact? Now, your personal brand statement can be incorporated into your website, into your LinkedIn profile, and all other marketing materials. This is your personal brand and what you stand for. So you want to be congruent every place that you show up. You want to make sure that when people do Google your name, they clearly understand what you stand for. And developing a great personal brand doesn't happen overnight, but if you follow the 4 steps I just provided you with, I'm assure you, you will be steps ahead of your competition. Remember, it's imperative to be able to communicate your purpose and your mission to an audience in a super genuine way. Let me share a couple of examples of people who have built incredible personal brands. The first one that comes to mind for me is Oprah Winfrey. I mean, Oprah is undoubtedly the queen of personal branding. She's always stuck to her core competency of challenging people to live their best lives, right? We all know that about Oprah. And by being true to herself, she truly has inspired millions to be their best selves. Okay, my second example is someone you also, everyone knows, and that's Richard Branson. Richard Branson is undeniably one of the most visible, successful, and well-known men alive. I think he's continually stayed true to his core values, including adventure and risk-taking. We've all seen a lot of videos of him over the years doing crazy things, but he's just being himself. And he's often done exactly what other business leaders have cautioned against, including all those crazy publicity stunts. I remember a video of him dressing as a flight attendant one time. But he's always been true to that brand of being a risk taker and an adventurer. And he has a very unorthodox style and a commitment to his passions. And that's helped him create a powerful personal brand. I love this quote because Branson says, too many companies want their brands to reflect some idealized, perfected image of themselves. And as a consequence, their brands acquire no texture, no character, and no public trust. And I talked about trust at the beginning, right? So let me leave you here. Whether you're looking for a better job or more sales for your company, personal branding is more important than ever. And listen, you don't need to be Oprah or Richard Branson to have a great personal brand. I have met hundreds of people on LinkedIn who have done a fabulous job of building their personal brand. It's just a matter of continually crafting and curating your digital presence in today's world, and most importantly, keeping it real. I think that your honesty, transparency, and authenticity are what will differentiate you in the long run. And remember, I know you've all heard this before, but you never get a second chance to make a great first impression. And you want to make it one that will set you apart, build trust, and reflect who you are. I'm Joanne Funch, and I create LinkedIn and relationship building strategies for professionals and corporate leaders that drive visibility, increase engagement, and build influence for more impact, credibility, and income. So thank you, Travis, for having me today and allowing me to share this message with your audience.